welcome to Side Draft Media. Thank you so much for being with us today. My name is Don. With me, my co-host Ryan. We got something really special for y'all today. Can't wait to get to it. But first, of course, I want to make sure we shout out our amazing sponsor, Mr. Don Tucker, creating these amazing diecast displays for the 124s. You can get them in any team, any color, any shape, anything you want. Don will make them for you. We'll have his links posted down in the description so you can get a hold of him and get one set up for yourself. As you can see, Ryan's got his 3-tile Christopher Bell there set up. I've got my 7-tile set up down here with the 2311 boys. Great displays. If you get a chance to check out more of his stuff on Instagram, Facebook, definitely do so. We have a very, very special treat for you, you guys today. I'm going to go ahead and pass it off to Ryan. Ryan, what do you got for me today, bud?
Hey, thanks, Don. Special treat indeed. It brings me great pleasure to announce another guest to the Side Draft Media podcast. Joining us today is a gentleman from within the NASCAR community, a man who does some heavy lifting within the pit box, but he also got to lift some hardware in the form of a trophy at the end of last season. Last year with his team and his drivers' hard work. They were the 2023 Xfinity Series champions. So it brings me great pleasure to bring in crew member and Fuelman from the 00 Stewart-Haas Racing Ford, piloted by driver Cole Custer. We welcome Matthew Kempf. Matthew, there you are, buddy. Hey, thank you for joining us today, Matthew. It really is a pleasure.
Yeah, I appreciate you having me on. How y'all doing?
We're doing great.
Living the dream, man. Living the dream. All smiles.
Yeah. Hey, so Matthew, I did my homework and I saw that you started racing mini stocks back in San Antonio, Texas. You're originally from Texas, if I understand correctly. And you were doing this around early 2000s, like circa 2003, and then eventually finding areas to where you could help other teams as a mechanic and with pit crew duties. So can you share with us how you went from doing that to hoisting a championship trophy last year with the Stewart-Haas Racing team?
Yeah, it's been a long journey, a very rewarding one, one that I don't think I would ever regret doing what I did. It all started growing up in San Antonio. Our dad took us to San Antonio Speedway as kids. Really got to hang out there, got to see a lot of local racers there that I still look up to, especially in that era and that area down there. And I knew that's what I wanted to do. I knew that's what I wanted to do. Even if I was just to stay in San Antonio, I wanted to have a time to work on race cars, drive them, have a good time. So ended up after high school, I went to tech school, became a mechanic, learned how to work on cars, bought my first mini stock. Me and my brother raced for a while. San Antonio, Central Texas Speedway, Corpus Christi, and had a good time. I even got to race with one of the legendary drivers out there. I drove for him for a couple races, Mike Knotts, which was cool. Then kind of figured out, I want to do more with the NASCAR. Money obviously gets tight because racing is so expensive. So in this whole process, I actually lost my dad, and then we buried him 10 days prior to me moving to NASCAR area, North Carolina, and working and becoming a pit crew member. So I went to school at Pit Instruction and Training in Mooresville, North Carolina. Did that, ended up making connections with Mike Harmon Racing. So I left Pitt, went to go join Mike Harmon Racing, did that for 6 months. Learned a lot as a mechanic, what it goes on behind the scenes that you don't see. Did a lot of, put a lot of time in, let's put it that way. Learning, and digging from the very bottom up. With that, ended up going to Excalibur pit crew school in Mooresville as well. And worked with Chuck and learned a lot more stuff. Ended up becoming a road mechanic for Rick Ware Racing during all that.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So that's how that connection was made. Got my first win working at Excalibur with Spencer Davis at Gateway in the K&N series that
Nice.
same year.
Oh.
And then the following year is where I landed my role with Rick Ware Racing. Did that for 3 seasons. Went to Elevated Performance after that. Did multiple truck, Xfinity, and Cup at that point in time. To where I ended up landing a job with Stewart-Haas Racing the following year in 2023, winning the championship, and here we are in 2024.
Yeah, man. Wow. That is an incredible story.
I gotta ask real quick because it's another example of racing stories connected. I grew up at San Antonio Speedway. Out there, my uncle Audie Howell raced late models.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
that's my uncle. So I was out there every weekend. I was at the race car shop on Fridays. So it's really awesome to see, even though we probably crossed paths at some point down there in the pits. That's just incredible to me. I get chills thinking about that kind of stuff when we start talking to more and more people, how connected the entire racing family really is.
It really is connected. And it's pretty interesting how everything is played out. There's been some drivers that, like Spencer Davis, he raced at San Antonio Speedway when it came back.
Yep.
You had Austin Wayne Self that made it to the truck series. And just some other different connections. JC is mechanic at the Tricon Garage.
Is that Umshire?
Yep.
Yeah.
And he's over there.
Wow.
Talk to him, and there is Texas racing within the NASCAR community.
Absolutely. A lot of roots down here.
Oh yeah.
And here I am, the Yankee up in Pennsylvania, just soaking this in because there's all these local Pennsylvanians as well. But like, I love hearing these different parts. When you tune into different people's podcasts and different avenues of racing, how they really just all connect and they meet in North Carolina. It's insane. It's insane.
The race hub.
Yeah, it really is. So, I'm digesting what you told us as far as that story so far. You really, truly, Matthew, that's incredible because like that is blue collared crawling and scratching your way to where you're at now. So hats off to you, my man. Virtual fist bump because that is incredible. And the payoff is a championship trophy in 2023.
Yep.
Wow.
It's been a long way, man. And I even forgot to mention this. Like Norm Benning had posted the year before I started NASCAR, which is something that how I got started. I was working at Valvoline and Stone Oak, and I saw this post on Norm Benning's thing, and I quit, left that day, and I went to Bristol, Tennessee, and didn't do anything because it rained out.
Of course.
I drove.
But you were there.
You're there, man. I love it.
Now, I want to ask because I read that for this season, the 2024 season that we're currently in, after your championship winning performance as a team at SHR last year, you had requested to be given more of a role because obviously you're a fuel man, but you wanted to do more as possibly tire specialist and machine shop technician. Now I had seen a photo of you working with a tire, so how did this all come to fruition? What all roles did they give you for this year?
So me and my crew chief and we had a long conversation, and our car chief too, about what the plan in the future looked like moving forward. One of the biggest things that I want to do in my career is that obviously pit, but ultimately become a car chief in the Xfinity or truck series. I feel very passionate about the mechanic side. What can you do to tinker with this car? What can you find out? This, that, and the other arrow down.
A chess match it is.
Right. Mm-hmm. That little advantage is all you got to find. Right. So, being as a mechanic by trade and my career, that's what I know. That's what I enjoy. So they sat down, talked to Joe, and ultimately ended up becoming the interior specialist for Cole, and then also the tire specialist with the duties of being a fueler.
Nice. Ask and you shall receive, my friend.
Yeah. So Yeah, I'm working alongside our car chief too on the setup plate and learning from him and really growing from everybody that is a part of the organization. Like our mechanic on the underneath of the car, he has years of being a car chief. So you put people around and you have a team like ours that loves and cares about each other, wants to do everything they can for everybody to win. You're going to grow. And that's what it is. And it's been a real nice honor and a pleasure to be able to be put in that situation.
I'd say. I mean, that's incredible. And you served your time, and it's great to see, the payoff, for you. I'm happy for you because that, you put 20 years in from what I read in '03, racing in Texas to 2023 hoisting that trophy. There's that dash mark that's in between those years of all that hard work and grind. So it is really cool to see that and hear that side of it. That close knit payoff that you're getting from it, your work at SHR.
And it's been good. The being a fan for that long and going to the racetrack and just wondering how are you going to get to this point, and when we started racing, I don't even remember what year that was, like 13 or 14 or something like that. When we started, finally, like me and my brother went out there to the racetrack. We're doing it all by ourselves. And just to be able to make laps, coolest thing ever, right? Well, then as you progress and you have that drive and you have your goals and ambitions that you want to keep continuing on, it's just going to continue to push you further and further. And it ultimately get to that point last year, it was just the most unreal feeling, but also a relief because it's like I've done something that I set my mind out to and my goal, and here we are. And
10 toes, my friend. 10 toes.
Oh yeah, not a grind, man. It's
yeah.
It takes a long time, but
Absolutely.
you're gonna get it and you're gonna enjoy it.
So I wanted to ask you, and I'm just going to reference this question in kind of a layman's terms. Now, I too spent, I have an automotive background, 20 years in automotive service. So in independent and dealership world. I kind of questioned this to where, the layman's can have some understanding for those who maybe, outsider perspective into the NASCAR world, as one of your primary functions on I almost said Sundays, but it's maybe one day, hopefully soon, Saturdays, on Saturdays, your primary function is to get gas into that car. Now on our street cars, we have fuel gauges, right? They'll and we even have dummy lights, the warning lights that will tell us when we're low on gas, or dare I say near empty or whatever. But NASCAR vehicles are not the same. And although a fuel can hold so many gallons of gas, can you share with the fans out there that are tuning in how you did your job right and got that tank full? How do you know? Because I mean, those red things go in. Obviously the payload's going in there, but how do you tell? How do you tell?
All right, so if you look at a fuel can, you have the red container itself, which holds all the fuel. Then you have the breather tubes, which is the clear plastic tubes that comes from the handle down to the dry brake. So that is your sight of how fuel is getting into the race car. So at a certain point, once fuel starts coming up the return tube, it'll start shooting from the car through that tube and up into the can. So it'll recirculate back above my head and drop down in the fuel tank. And so when that tube turns solid green, then there's no air bubbles. That's how you can tell when the race car is full.
Wow, that's interesting. Now, do you take those cans then afterwards, and do you have any secondary precautions to make sure? Like, do you weigh them?
Yeah. So before every stop, even before the race starts, every single can gets fueled. They get a weight. You write the weight down. Post pit stop, whatever cans, if you use 2 cans, both cans get weighed. And there's a whole formula where you subtract and divide by how much everything weighs. And it becomes so second nature that sometimes you're like, oh, I can't believe I did that. But it's a whole formula based on how much the fuel 1 gallon weighs, right? And then you subtract that by how much the fuel can weighed after the pit stop with how much it weighed total. Then you divide that by the weight of the gallon, and that gives you how much fuel weight you put into the race car.
Wow, incredible.
And that will give you a general idea to your crew chief, your car chief, how much fuel they have to run for every specific track, because every track is a different animal, right? They burn fuel differently. So y'all need to know exactly every little drop that gets into that car.
Right. So fortunately now, like my engineer, he handles all that. He gets the fuel weights and he can handle all that. But when I was coming up, like that was my job. Like I had to figure out how far we could go. Then you got on top of that, then you had to keep track of how many caution laps you had.
Right.
That plays a factor. Every 2 laps is 1 lap on race fuel. So it's a whole lot that you had to pay attention to. Fortunately, now it's not so much the same anymore because of the stage breaks, and where you're going to run, right? Normally, if you're going to do Xfinity, you're probably going to do 2 cans, sometimes 1, but most of the time you're going to do 2 cans every single stop. And you're just playing that, what are we going to do? How are we going to get nose weight or anything like that? So it's up there. They make that call, and my job is just to execute as fast as possible.
Wow.
Now, to get a little deeper, I'm sorry, Ryan, to get a little deeper, because now I'm churning here, do y'all purposely not fill a car up all the way so that it's a little bit lighter for short runs, maybe at the end of a race? And could that make the car faster, or is that kind of weight not really play a factor in it?
Oh yeah, there's always games that get played, right? It just depends on what that car is looking like, for if they're trying to go a long run speed or a short run speed, or if they're tight, loose, how that car is going to handle. They'll say, hey, we want only this amount of seconds of fuel for the whole stop.
Okay, cool.
And then so then you got to tell yourself mentally, slow down.
Right.
You have to learn how to count really slow, because in the flip side of that, it's going to be faster than what you think it is. And normally every single time is right on the money.
Nice.
But that's the job. You have so much going on around you that you visually and mentally have to slow down to a point of like hyper focused.
Right.
That's insane. Now, can I ask you? I gotta ask you. I read somewhere along the lines the weight of those things, like that. What's that guy? I mean, like you're training a lot, I'm sure, but and you're used to it by now. But what is a fuel can in the Xfinity Series weigh?
So the fuel can Xfinity is fortunately gone down weight wise, but it's around 75 to 76 pounds per can.
Still a lot.
Cup is obviously, the highest one. They still have the 12-gallon fuel cans, anywhere from 98 to 105 pounds.
Is that full or is that empty?
That's full.
Oh, okay. Okay. So
they're like 12 or 15 pounds.
Okay, cool.
Wow. Yeah, that's a lot. And again, we mentioned this in our interview we had with Michael Hicks. Anybody who thinks these men are not athletes, you're just wrong.
I mean, look at this guy. This dude is stacked up, man.
Yeah. And if you don't mind me asking, how tall are you too? Because I mean, gravity's got to play a factor here. If you're, the taller you are, hopefully that fuel can slink quicker, right?
Oh yeah, I'm 6'4".
Okay. There you go.
Actually, it's funny because now how Xfinity, you got to be a taller fueler, right? Because the way that dry brake on the car sits up higher compared to the truck or cup car. So you kind of, it depends on how long you can drop your arms for a cup or a truck. Really, Xfinity, you want to be up high, because that way as the car's coming in, you can plug it in and engage faster. Cup, you got to drop your hands as low as possible. Kind of use like your crotch area as your guide to engage the car, because it's so much lower compared to what we have on Saturdays.
Wow.
Have you had the opportunity to pit for a cup team, like maybe like a one-off race or anything like that?
Yeah. No, I've pitted the last 4 seasons for Rick Ware.
Oh, okay, cool.
As I was at Stewart-Haas, because I was just a strictly pit crew member at Stewart-Haas last year. So I did the 15 car, I've done the 51 car, the 53, all those at Rick Ware Racing.
And if I remember correctly, Rick Ware has San Antonio ties too. If I remember correctly, is that the same Rick Ware that used to? I think he had a San Antonio Speedway show, if I remember correctly.
I don't know anything about that.
Oh, okay. I think it was in the 90s, and the Ware family had something going on down there at San Antonio.
Interesting. I didn't know that one. And I've that year prior to me going to Stewart-Haas, I also did the 27 car of Jacques Villeneuve.
Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah.
Well,
Jacques is a legend in the open wheel world. So yeah, that's awesome.
oh yeah.
Yeah, um, now I want to discuss where you're at right now. So, currently, your driver Cole has a 56-point lead in the regular season. So clearly you guys are in championship form still. You have the win at Pocono. So you are locked into the playoffs. And with 6 races left until the Xfinity playoffs round of 12, how do you all as a team, get yourself into playoff mode to make sure you're contending, as one of those final teams at Phoenix again?
Right now, everyone is, for the most part, in playoff mode. It is going to step up once the playoffs are here to a different intensity, but everyone on our team, 00, is wanting to and going to go back to back. It's going to happen. You have people here that just know how to get things done and are there, know what to do. And right now, I mean, we're sitting in a really good spot. With, like you said, 56-point lead. Cole's doing everything he has to do inside the race car. There's times when, drivers can lose their cool and they can fall way back. They can wreck out. But listening to Cole on the radio is one of the most interesting things that you could listen to, because there's times he does get upset, but he's cool, calm, and it comes right back up to the front. I mean, not many drivers right now could do that without going above their head sometimes, and being consistent with how many top 5s and top 10s that we've had in a row this season already, and even going back to last year, it's just continued over, and everybody is doing everything that they can. And like I said earlier, everybody wants to win for each other. And when you got an environment like that, it's hard to beat.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, that's something I can agree with. And I mean, and the evidence is there right in front of our eyes, as we're tuning into these Xfinity races every weekend. The 00 is always a team that's talked about. Now, I also want to mention, I mean, things are just overall going really well on the Xfinity side for Stewart-Haas Racing. I mean, we have Riley Herbst coming off a win at Indy. Dude, I mean, what a finish that was. I'm sorry you guys didn't get it, but you were there. It was that 3-car battle at the end of that race. I mean, insane.
It was a
But
blast to watch, man.
yeah, I mean, as a fan, that's what we tune in for. That is racing, and but I mean, Riley, obviously he's got his win, he's locked in too. So it's exciting to see what you guys can do come playoff time, and I'm sure they're good. The in-house nudge is going to be there. You guys battling it out in the playoffs.
Oh yeah, and that just shows you how far that we've continued to grow, and you've watched progression over the season. When you step out that far on people, and lead with those gaps, and had the speed that Riley and Cole had, at Indy, that says a lot about what everyone does back at the shop.
Yeah.
And it starts down in the body shop to the shop mechanics and all those guys back at home that never get their name mentioned. But I'm going to mention it because they do a heck of a job.
And you know what? I'm glad you did, because we here at Side Draft Media, we want to support that supporting cast. I mean, gentlemen like yourself and Hicks, our first interview, you guys are putting blood, sweat, and tears into this, literally and figuratively. Every week that you guys go to the track, the drivers always get their flowers, but the men and women back at the shops, the everybody jumping over the wall to the strategist to the crew chief there's so many integral pieces that make this happen. And heck, even the hauler drivers, they got to get those cars back and forth. It's a true team sport. And, I'm glad you give those flowers because everybody deserves it. And it kind of sets me up though for my next question. And it's a big elephant in the room because you're our first guest from Stewart-Haas Racing on. Obviously it kind of shocked the NASCAR world when they announced earlier this year that Stewart-Haas Racing would be closing their doors at the end of 2024. But then it came out that Haas Factory Team, would be retaining a Cup charter, and then you're going to have two Xfinity cars still as well. But your driver Cole is moving on up to the Cup world, which is well deserved. In my opinion, he definitely deserves to be back there.
And we've seen what Cole's capable of in the Cup Series. He's able to compete with those guys week in and week out. So that's a well-deserved position.
Yeah, absolutely. But my question really, with all that news and everything, how it transpired, I mean, how did you and your cohort, respond to that news? And I mean, is it easier to drown out any of that other noise, that surrounds it, knowing that you guys are still dominating on the track and competing for that back-to-back championship like that? You just said you guys are basically, you're going to will yourself to it. I mean, so like how do you guys respond to that when something like that happens and just shocks NASCAR world like that?
So at first, it is a shock. Like, oh boy, like for me, it was like, I just literally busted my guts out for, 6 years trying to get to this point.
Yep.
And then you find out the other stuff, and there's people that are going to be happy, going to be sad about it, going to have hurt feelings. But I will say this: in our shop, in the Xfinity shop that we're all in, it never changed. Nobody ever slowed down. Nobody ever got bitter. Nobody was, I'm over this. I quit. No, nobody has done that. Everybody is still together. Everybody's still going strong with each other. And, and even on the pit crew side with all my buddies on that, right? It's, we all know what we have to do on pit road to get it done. And we want to get our Jack Minute championship. We want to get, another one for ourselves. And it's just, I mean, it's really a family over there, and everybody's got each other's back. Like, is there good days? Of course. Is there bad days? Yeah, you're going to have it. When you work together and you spend as much time as we do with everybody, there's going to be like a family relation, family fight or whatever, but it's never to a point of like a disastrous thing. Everybody's still there to pick each other up. And our shop is really one of the funnest ones I've ever worked in. Everybody just has fun. It's lighthearted. There's always jokes going on. Somebody's got some joke going. And I think that's really where we are looking forward for the Xfinity program moving forward for Haas Factory Team. It's going to be the same group of guys in the shop that are building the race car. Our team's going to be the same. You're going to have more people that are going to be the same. And then coming over from the Cup side, there could be that possibility too. You have guys that have been around for so long that know what it takes to be that top level Cup team back in the old, the old car that we were running that comes, and they can bring that over to the Xfinity car because, we still run truck arms, just all the rear end, stuff like that. So there's a lot of positives. And you just got to drown out all the negative stuff that was said, and you move them forward. And life for us in the Xfinity shop has been really good.
Yeah, amen to that, brother.
That's very well said. You mentioned you want to get one for your Jackman. Did y'all have a Jackman change at the end of 23 and going into 24? Is that what you meant by that?
Yeah. So our Jackman in 23, he went on to Legacy, and he's pitched for, John Hunter and Nemechek now.
Awesome.
Right on.
Yes. Our Jackman this year, who I've known for a long time back in the Excalibur days, he pitched the 4 car on Sundays.
Oh, okay.
So he made it. he came over to us this year, and we've seen, a very big increase on even pit road side. We're sitting second fastest just by a tenth off on pit road for the whole year so far.
Awesome.
That's
That's
incredible.
championship level stuff right there, my friend.
Yeah.
Yep.
And that's also the type of stuff that gets looked at, I'm sure, when you look at all that data from this year, when those decisions get made on who goes where, who does what, come February of next season, when you guys unload at Daytona.
Right.
And were you hinting, because I mean, you talked about how things are going to be staying the same as far as the team's concerned. Yeah, we'll expect to see Matthew Kempf back as a Fuelman in 2025 with the 00.
Yep, I'll be back 2025 with the 00. We're doing along the same roles, interior and tire specialist as of right now, from what I've been told, and it's just another opportunity to get another year of high level competition, high level mechanic, and high level everything that goes on with that. And it's another year to grow, right? Take
Yeah.
this year, what can I do better for the next year? Make it a little bit better for myself, and then the driver for the team and everything like that.
Now, there's all these rumors swirling in the NASCAR world as far as who's going to be taking that seat, because again, we know Cole Custer's going to the Cup side. And obviously, I'm not expecting you to spill the beans here, but do you guys have an idea as well, or do you hear all those rumors and are you scratching your head wondering who's coming in and taking over that ride?
You hear all the rumors, right? I think for us, until it's said to us, there's nothing official, right? But our main this year, and when that time comes, if we have to look forward a little bit early, then we'll go to that. But right now, all eyes and all ears are straight up going for the playoff run. But as of right now, haven't heard anything. No rumors, like crazy rumors. You hear all the wild ones, but nothing is official.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I'm sorry, Ryan. I absolutely love that answer, because it's very important, and it's very easy to lose focus when a race team is going through not only what they went through a couple months ago with the announcement, but now that the driver change in the 00 coming off a championship, a possible back-to-back championship, and then no longer going to be in that 00, it can be very easy to get distracted and pay attention to all the social media stuff. But I love that you guys are just laser focused and headed into the playoffs, man. That's awesome.
Our motto right now, and this has started from our underneath mechanic, and he's been around for a long time. As long as everybody crosses their T's and dot our I's, they ain't gonna catch us. And that's our motto. Right?
I love it.
Yeah.
We're bringing the racetrack, and the performance is there, and as long as everybody, from, like I said, the shop guys, the road crew, the guys that set up the car, pull down the car, the engineers, the crew chief, all of us on pit road, like, you cross everything and it's going to play out.
That's awesome, man. Now, so you said that you are working as an interior specialist. So you're in the shop then a couple days a week, I'm assuming, prepping cars before they go to the track.
Yep.
What does your work week kind of look like?
So normal is Monday through Wednesday. That's what we work, and on the road crew side. So Monday after a race, you're coming in, you're tearing your car apart, getting everything out from the week before, cleaning everything, and then most of that stuff that I use for the interior, as far as the AC, the cool shirt stuff, some other things here and there, that all gets cleaned up, prepped, and then goes right into the next car. But you're taking everything out, getting it ready for the next following week. You have cars, these off weeks have been good for me. I got seats put in all the way up to Watkins Glen. So you get ahead as far as you can, and then work to try to get everything finalized on those times off. but it's usually Monday. You come in, it's tear down, get ready. Tuesday, you're putting the little odds and ends on the car. Car goes to scale. Then it'll go over to the Hawkeye, get the body measured, come back, finish up some stuff if they want to change anything, and that'll be about your day on Tuesday. It's pretty tedious and long. Wednesday, final scale, get everything set up, run the car, load it in the trailer.
Wow, that's awesome. Now
That sounds great, right?
yeah.
No, it's long days sometimes. Nothing crazy. And that really attests to the shop guys. I mean, we're out of there usually 4:30 every day, 7 to 4:30. It's not bad.
Yeah,
Awesome.
that's a day in the shop. I mean that's you mentioned Hawkeye, and as a guy who had the 20 years of automated service, are we talking about a Hunter alignment machine?
Right? No, that's what I thought the first time I said it. No, but it's that the NASCAR access system. So it's Oculus or whatever, I forget what it's called, but it's a laser system that scans the body panels, the windows. And even you put these things on the car, and it measures how much camber, toe, all that you have, the width of the car, and it gives you this graph sheet of, hey, this is where your car is set up. You have to meet a certain requirement. And then it gives you visual pictures that are on NASCAR side that you can see if the body's too high on one area, well, then you got to go back and fix that. If it's too low, you need to fix it. And it's all within tolerances, right? So you got to meet that minimum tolerance. And that's how they're able to get all these cars similar to everything that you see on the racetrack these days within the rule book.
It's a lot more high tech than the stuff we used to work with at San Antonio Speedway. I worked a couple of years as a NASCAR official there at San Antonio Speedway. I did flagman for a little bit, front straightaway, and of course tech pad. And we had those old school metal templates that go over the top of the car to make sure everybody's cars aren't, shaped a different way to give them an advantage. So the laser system is definitely an upgrade from what we come from 20 years ago.
Oh yeah, the old weight system. I remember that.
Right, the templates and all that.
Yeah, but it's interesting how a lot of plays out. I mean, look at the truck series, right? They run templates, and you can see how much body they got in there. It's coming right, and they're bending like crazy. But that's that's just the way that is. And Xfinity and Cup, it's down to fractions.
Probably like less than millimeters, because if you're too small on one side or too big on the other, they're going to let you know, and you're going to be starting at the back real quick.
You're going to go around tech, and you better get it right.
Right.
So you mentioned you got seats in all the way to Watkins Glen. Now, obviously, you guys are off this weekend. You get that third weekend off, really, with that Olympic break and then this. But you told me that, and Don, behind the scenes, that you have been working. So not exactly the full 2 weeks, I guess, but 5 seats. So you have 5 different cars ready to go racing, basically. So you got one for Michigan, and then you got 4 more in the weight. Is that how that's working?
With the inside of the car, for the majority of it, they're almost ready to go. Michigan's done. Daytona will need small stuff here and there swapped over, just because of the cooling AC units and all stuff that's got to be swapped. And then, it's just small things here and there that, cost money, right? And things that got to be brought over and switched over. But you have seats in them, you got roll pads in them, you got the majority of the equipment that is needed and put in already.
That is insane that you have that much prep work ahead, and I guess you guys got to play a little catch up and do that. Now, can I ask your crew chief how much, and car chief, how much oversight do they have in the garage or in the shop with you when you guys are doing these? Are they there with you, or do they come in on certain days and kind of go through what you've done?
Our crew chief and car chief are there every day. Coming in, they've talked to everybody. they're not stuck in an office, right? And I think that's one thing that's good is they're, I wouldn't say they're super hands-on, but they are there to oversee everything. Our car chief is the one that is the hands-on guy. That's his car. He sets everything up. He does all the front end stuff on that thing. That's what he does. And they're there. They got plans. They're always talking to the engineer, running whatever data system, the sim rigs, and they're just trying to figure out what's that little bit that we just need, and that's what it's going to take. But they're there every day. Every single day that we're there, they're there working. Even on the days that we're not at the shop, they're on the computer running simulation and trying to get ahead.
The work never stops, ladies and gentlemen. I'm telling you right now, it never stops with these cars, with these crews, with these teams. It's a 24-hour, 7-day a week type atmosphere that these guys are working, and just so much respect to everything you guys do.
Yeah. The passion and that goes in behind it too. Like hearing these stories, it's just surreal. Taking it
enlightening.
In, as a lifelong race fan, and I have a phrase. I've been a racing fan since I was in diapers, and I'll be one, and when I'm in diapers again. So it's just but to hear these stories, it just is awesome, man. It just makes me want to come and do it with you. It's like,
Right?
it's like, it's so cool to hear this. And I can't thank you enough, for sharing your insight and your story with us. And, man, what awesome time this is. And I'm sure you're itching to get back racing, or see some cars on the track too. Hopefully you did get to enjoy some family time. We saw you got married last year, so congratulations on that. You're winning championships. Just life is great for Matthew Kempf right now, my man. And I'm glad to hear going forward too. You're going to be with the Haas team, and maybe we'll see you fueling Cole Custer's car in the Cup Series next year too.
Hey, we'll see what happens. That'd be nice.
I gotta follow up on the championship thing. This thing has been just burning in my mind. I want to hear about the emotions, and our listeners too. Talk to us about the moment Cole Custer comes across the finish line and you guys are jumping off the pit box, finally celebrating a championship, man. Tell us about it.
So let's start prior to that, right?
Okay.
So for me, I had a couple things injury-wise that I was dealing with, and some stuff that I had personally been dealing with. So it had been an up and down season. I was in a lot of pain. I was hurting and just kept digging and grinding. Then you get to that day, that weekend, really, when you go down to Phoenix, and everything just kind of just was different. It was off, like not a bad way, but in a good way. Quiet. Everyone was really, really loose, just having a good time. You get there that day, and you just knew something was different, and
there was something special brewing, huh?
For something. And we started just going about our day, ended up getting some, like I don't even remember what it was. It's like a gift bag from some fan. And, apparently we got like a football and some, a card saying, hey, good luck, and we did that going through the race. I mean, prior to the week before at Martinsville, where we all aged like 25 years right there. Then you start having us running where we are. We're executing on pit road, just missing it by a couple tenths to that 20 car. That last stop comes and we beat them off. Unreal feeling, and our crew chief came back on the radio and said, our championship pit crew just did their job on pit road. Cole, now it's up to you. You've heard that line. If you've seen the YouTube videos,
Yep.
Pretty, get your chills.
Oh man.
Yeah.
That restart. Oh, you talk about throw up. I watched that and I looked away. Didn't even look anymore. I saw he went 3 wide and I was like, that's how it's going to be out.
You looked away from it. Oh my gosh.
I did. I was like, well, time to put my stuff up.
Oh, that's incredible, man.
like as I'm getting all my gloves and stuff put up, and then I hear everyone like yelling, like his wife's yelling, his parents are yelling, his sister's yelling, all of our team are like yelling. And I turn around and he got through it, like made it out of the back. And I'm just like, oh, here we go. So I grabbed, just in case, I grabbed that orange Gatorade that was sitting there, that Powerade, let's be honest. And got off the ball, finished the race. And the ultimate, just like, I cannot believe we just did that. The sense of relief after that whole year, everything that we had gone through, and just to celebrate and grab the guys and then have Shane up front. He jumped in my arms and we're all like just ecstatic and have so much just feeling of everything. And then to go down on the wall, watch Cole do his burnouts and have Cole jump into my arm area, grab him. And it is just unbelievable how all that played out. And it just kind of was like, that's how it was. That's
is absolutely beautiful.
Yep. And then we all,
that gives me chills hearing it, man.
Right, man.
And I remember watching it, and then just to fast forward to now, talking with you, and just watching it as a fan last year, to like I get chills all over, and like I get emotional for you because like that is like the pinnacle moment for you. And when did it sink in? When did it really sink in that you won the championship?
That next morning. So actually, I had one of my buddies that I used to work with at BMW in San Antonio, right by the airport back in the day when I worked there. He drove up. Him and his boy drove to Phoenix for the race because that's how he supported me that much.
I love
and
it.
That morning, when I saw him and gave him, I was like, hey, can you hold on to the champagne bottle for me? Like this and that. And I gave him some other stuff. And it just hit me like, wow. And then I get, emotional talking about my wife, because I left her this note on the refrigerator that weekend we left. And it was like, thank you for being there through all the pain that I had been going through and all the mental stuff that I was dealing with and anxiety. And, I can't wait to come home, marry you, and come home a champion. And that's the note. She still has it on the fridge. And when I got home, like I said, Sunday, the race, and that's when it really started hitting me. When I got home, it was really emotional, and I think everybody just going through the after stuff, having the beer toast celebration. Then you go through Nashville. It still gets emotional, man. I'll
Hell
tell you
yeah.
that.
And thank you for sharing that emotion, man. It's really important for our fans and our y'all's fans and our listeners to see that emotion and how much y'all put into this sport, because it truly is a very emotional, a very powerful thing that happens on these racetracks. And I don't think enough people really truly understand that.
Yeah. We, on our pit crew, we went through everything. We had changes, unfortunately we lost some people that were our friends and still friends to this day. And, but everything that happened, it just makes you even closer as individuals, to go out there and grind for as long as you do away from your family. Like we're brothers at the end of the day now. And that's what it feels like again, going this year. Like it's the same people minus the Jack, man. It's his little change, but we're all brothers and it's all family. And Pocono was a good point to watch us celebrate. And that's how much we love and care about each other and care about this team. When you watch that victory lane celebration, see everybody running up and down, like jumping off pit wall, like it's not just for us as individuals, it's everybody. And the text messages that, get sent back to the shop guys, they went out, they all had a good time. I mean, it's pretty awesome. Like you had text messages prior to that championship weekend, guys sending videos of them just, just so excited and proud and, nervous. And you just have all the emotions that you're reading. And then you're out there and it comes down to that stop, that pit stop.
The money stop.
And then you have the restart that happened. And it was awesome and fun to release all that emotion over the year.
Yeah.
Well, absolutely incredible, man.
you're not done yet, my man. You know, you could write another story hopefully this year. And you know, I
And
know
write another note on the fridge when y'all leave for
yeah,
Phoenix.
Oh yeah.
exactly. Yeah. We're pulling for you, bud. And can't thank you enough for again sharing that raw emotion and coming on here to chat with us and the NASCAR community. And yeah, really appreciate it. And really now I'm looking forward to, continuing watching your journey as you go through the NASCAR world, my man. So thank you. Really appreciate being here today, Matthew.
Yeah, I'm glad I got to be here, and thank you for what you said. We appreciate it.
Yeah.
Thank you, Matt, man. It's been awesome talking to you, bud, from everybody at Side Draft Media. I know I speak for Ryan and Nathan. Just the amount of appreciation can't be expressed in words for you taking time with us and sharing everything that you've gone through. Absolutely wonderful. And thank you, thank you, thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Anytime. Glad I got to be.
Hey, hopefully in November we could come and chat and do this again, with you having getting your second ring, all right?
That's good.
And we'll have to talk. We'll have to talk. Y'all got rings and everything, right? Everybody gets championship swag.
Oh yeah, we all got our rings. I got mine sitting out there, and next to our crew chief gave all of us pictures, like pictures throughout the year, that like a collage picture.
Collage, okay.
All the memories, all the pictures out there, and I saw that you looked at that video. That's the picture my crew chief gave us. So it's sitting right there. Got the champagne bottle that got to be out when we move, and the fire suit got that here, and gonna have that displayed. So you got a lot of cool things here.
Awesome, man, incredible. I hope you get a whole second round of it here in a couple months, man.
Oh yeah, I appreciate it. That'll be a good time.
Yeah,
awesome.
Thank you so much, Matt. We don't want to take much more of your evening. Spending time with us. Go thank your wife for allowing you to leave some family time to come chat with us, and we look forward to having you back on anytime, man. Thank you.
Sounds good. Y'all have a good one. Take care.
You too, bud. Thank you.
Yeah, take care. Another amazing interview here on the Side Draft Media podcast. Don, I'm just in awe. I'm still digesting this one. That raw emotion, man. I got emotional for him.
I did for sure.
It's
Absolutely.
like it's just, and how can you not? When you're a fan of this sport and you understand sports in general and the dedication and the commitment that goes into it, not just from that individual, but the people that surround them. That's why we're here. That's why we're doing this. And that's why we want these stories to be told, man. I'm just chills.
Absolutely. I got goosebumps, man. I can't wait to chat with him a little bit more post show. From everybody here at Side Draft Media, just thank you guys for listening. Thank you for being with us. We appreciate all the support that's pouring in. We are still just a month old, but man, we are firing on all cylinders. We're heading full steam ahead into the playoffs. It's going to be a really special thing we're doing here, and we can't do it without all of our fans following. We can't do it without guys like Matthew and Michael that have joined us on the feeds. And make sure y'all are subscribing, make sure you're liking, and make sure you're commenting. That way we can engage with you guys. We can get much more insight from other fans and possible crew members here in the future. Man, Ryan, thank you so much for another wonderful episode. My name is Don. Ryan, my co-host. Nathan, our executive. We'll see you guys on the next one. Y'all have a great night.